Good evening. My name is Gavin Christian Brown. I am a college professor and I am going to attempt to say something inspirational. I am a sexual assault survivor. I was molested by a cousin, a priest, and a female teacher. And my story goes that when I was in the 10th grade, my English teacher told me in front of the class when I was going through a very rough year, when I had many suicidal thoughts, that because I was molested, I would grow up and be a rapist. I was seeing a counselor at the time, and the counselor was the next door neighbor of the English teacher. The counselor, released all my information, all my secrets that I had told her about the abuse I had survived. And as a result, the school fired the counselor. So the counselor told the English teacher, and the English teacher proceeded to make me a whipping boy in her class every day. And that's what she told me. She told me in front of that class that that I grew up and be a rapist. She said, people like you grow up to be rapists. And I didn't wind up raping anybody. As it turns out, I wound up counseling rape victims. I did that for free. I wound up getting 2 degrees in criminal justice, a master's in English, and I've been an English teacher since 2006. I've taught on the high school level and I've taught on the collegiate level. I am a college professor currently. So what we have to do in life is we have to take our pain and we have to turn it into gain. I suffer from nightmares, constant nightmares. I've been suffering from that since I was a little boy due to all sorts of abuse because it wasn't just sexual assault. I get random pains all over my body in addition to the chronic pain that I've been suffering since I was 14 years old. I have a heart condition. I have a bleeding. My heart literally bleeds. I have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but they say that it might be something else that's causing me to have pain. And it's like these little needles all over my body. Sometimes it feels like I'm being hit with a meat tenderizer. It hurts when I laugh. It hurts when I blink. It hurts when I breathe. It hurts when I move. Everything hurts. Leaning forward hurts. Leaning backward hurts. It always hurts. And because we're men, we're conditioned to hold all of this in. Um, we're not supposed to talk about our abuse. We're supposed to keep it in because if you talk about it, then you're weak. If you talk about it, then you're a pussy or a bitch or whatever. They try to take feminine terms and apply them to us to make us sound weak. But most of the strongest people I've known have been women. So you know, I suffer from sleep paralysis, which is when you're asleep and your brain wakes up while you're asleep and you can't move. Some people say it's the witch riding your back. I, to be quite honest with you, I try to be the most inspirational person I can, but in all honesty, I don't want to be here anymore. The world has changed and the climate is horrible. Most of the things I've tried to do, even though I've had that great success with turning my life around and becoming an English professor and taking the what that English teacher said to me and turning it into something greater. I've seen a lot of bad happen in this world, and I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing people suffering. I talk people out of suicide. I give my number 504-427-9769 to people and they can call me and I talk them out of suicide. And it's draining. It's incredibly draining for me. This is what depression looks like. This is what anxiety looks like. Some people will say, oh, well, you speak really well. You're doing really well for yourself. You're a teacher. I only get paid about $9.90 a month. I'm not making that much money. I sit in an office that has mold in every office around it. I make more money playing, as an extra playing an English professor on The Purge than I do being one in real life. You know, It's not, love is why we teach. I mean, they say in it for the outcome, not the income, but love isn't paying the bills. I could be on food stamps right now. I could be on Medicaid right now. Not that there's anything wrong with that because I've been on them before, but that's just the truth. We all have internal struggles. It's an invisible war that goes on inside of us. And it's self-doubt, and it's layers and layers and layers of abuse that happens to people. And I always use the analogy of the football player. I use the analogy of the great Earl Campbell. Here he was, a reckless runner who run over people. And he couldn't feel it when he was running, but when he retired, he could barely walk. I took a lot of hits when I was a kid. I took a lot of hits when I was a teenager, you know, and I survived suicide attempts because the day that she told me I was going to grow up and be a rapist, I went home, I got my mother's gun, and I tried to pull the trigger, but the safety wouldn't disengage. I had to sit there and I had to get back up and I had to go back to that school and take more abuse until finally they failed me out. And I wound up at another school, went through another bout with depression, but I ended up getting out of there. And once I got to college, after a little period, things started to fall into place for me. But it never really leaves you. It's always a struggle. And what I tell people is you have to latch on to something. You have to latch on to something, anything. It could be that next movie that you want to stay alive to see. Anything to help you keep going. That's what I try to do. Again, I really don't want to be here. Doom and gloom all the time. All the time. Nothing but bad news. I centered most of my life around finding someone who could love me for who I am. That didn't happen either. You go on social media, all you see are men are trash. Niggas ain't shit, this and that. I had a girlfriend. She was probably one of the most love a black man people that you could possibly meet. That's how she came across to me, but she wasn't faithful to me. She was promiscuous before I met her, and she cheated on me with at least 8 people during a 6-month period of time. And she said that I was too good for her. And, she's very remorseful now, and she's become one of my biggest supporters because she has mental illness too. And I told her she also has an illness, an illness, something is attacking her that could end her life. And I told her right before we broke up, before I knew about the cheating, that I would be by her side through it. And and it's the duality of being supportive and loving as a friend, and yet at the same time learning about all these infidelities and wondering why this happened. And she says it's not my fault. And I know it's not my fault, but at the same time, when you've had people tell you through your entire life that you're not good enough, hearing it, seeing it on display from someone who you had to fight so hard to earn her love, it's a different feeling. But I don't tell her that anymore because she cares about me, and she really does now. She really does now because all those people left her once she got sick. And now all we really have are each other. And I'm trying to be supportive of her, and I think I'm doing a really good job of that. And at some point, you just have to forgive people for things, especially when they're so remorseful. I have a little girl in my life. I'm not raising. I'm not a biological father, but I'm helping to raise her. I stay alive for that little girl because she's beautiful. She's lovable. She's funny. And she loves me. And every morning she greets me with a hug. Other people who are related to her, they don't really care about me. They don't really like me. One in particular is very much a deadbeat. She doesn't do what she's supposed to do, and then she turns around and accuses us of taking this little girl away from her, when in actuality, when she's running around doing all kinds of other stuff, she's not spending time with that little girl, and that little girl knows it. So there's that too. you know. But I stick around for her. Despite all the pain, I took an oath to this young lady. I love her dearly. We're not together anymore because I don't see myself getting in another relationship, and I really wish I could. But after that, it just took my soul, to be quite honest with you. It's hard. It would be very, very hard to trust anyone, especially in this sort of climate. Um, but I told her I'd be there for her, and I'm still trying to be. And I told, I'm here for that little girl. You know. So if you're depressed, if you're sad, latch on to something. Try your hardest to stay with us. We need you. I know sometimes you don't want to be here. I know I don't. I really don't. Because my history of trying to do things, it doesn't work out. It doesn't always work out for me. And I'm trying so hard to make a difference out there. But there are always people out there who are going to need saving. There are always people out there who are going to suffer. And I don't know what to do. I can't save everyone. And because of empathy, it just hurts me a lot. And the pain, sometimes the pain gets too much. But like we say, you're a man, you have to suck it up. You have to suck it up. I'm a college professor, I have to get in front of my students every day and try to inspire them as best I can to go out there and make a difference in the world. Because I'm not just teaching English, I'm teaching life. I have to get them to beat these stereotypes. And as a black male, a lot of times I get in front of a class and these people look at me and they see that I dress well, they see that I speak well, and they think that I've never been through a damn thing in my life. But I still get up there. 2% black men are 2% of the teachers in the United States, and we still get up there and we do it every day, just like black women do. The most educated demographic in the country, the strongest among us. You know, it's hard. It's hard, but you have to keep going. If I'm going to keep going with these nightmares and these aches and pains and these suicidal thoughts and this war going on inside of me that I am losing every day, with these illnesses, some of them I know of, some of them I don't know of, because I've lost almost 30 pounds since this year started, and I have been eating quite often. You know, you have to keep going too. We're in this together, and I don't know who I'm gonna share this video with. I don't know if this is gonna help me professionally or destroy me professionally. I've been destroyed before though, but I'm hoping that somebody benefits from this. I'm hoping that somebody's life is made better because of this, even if you listen to just 10 seconds of it. It doesn't really matter to me. You have to stay with us. There's a lot of bullshit going on out there, and we need you. We need you. We've been put through all this stuff in our lives, and we're still here. We're still fighting. We're still going. Who better than us? Who better than us to save the world? We sure as hell aren't afraid to die because we tried to take our lives. We sure as hell aren't afraid of pain because our lives have been nothing but pain. Who better than us? That's all I have to say. And that was it could have been better, but I just went off pure emotion. So love always.